According to Dr. Fred Luskin at Stanford University, every one of us generally has over 60,000 thoughts in a day, most of which are repetitive. We frequently hear reminders to think positively and to be mindful of our thoughts. Nevertheless, it's simple to get caught up in pessimism, fear, or doubt, and fall into the spiral of repeating those less than optimistic thoughts. Many things can cause us to think negatively. Just a few instances are having a critical inner dialogue, passing judgment, or experiencing fear. Most individuals would choose to be happy, calm, safe, and optimistic if you ask them. However, it's not always that easy. So, let's examine how we initially came to think in this manner. Our brains were programmed to detect danger or unfavorable circumstances in the early stages of human development and to remember them. Our ability to survive back then depended on it. 99 out of 100 thoughts may be reasonable, but our minds will focus on the one that is not reasonable. When our brains link these specific neural pathways and strengthen them with another worry or negative thought, negative thinking develops into a habit. In some circumstances, a certain amount of critical analysis may be helpful and protective. But the point is lost if you adopt this attitude and only perceive the negative in everything. So, what can you do if you have a negative thought addiction? Can you break this cycle? Here are a few suggestions to assist you in better understanding your thoughts and what adjustments you may do to break the vicious cycle. The first step is to become conscious of your thoughts. You can just observe your thoughts if you can recognize them as they come to you. The Power of Now, author Eckhart Tolle observed that he seemed to be two individuals at once. The one who was thinking, and the one who was aware of what was being thought. He claimed that at one point in his life, he was unable to live with himself. He then questioned, am I the one I can't live with? Alternatively, who can't live with me? He came to the realization that we can observe our thoughts as a result of that insight. The next stage is that we can also change them as a result of doing so. Your life can be significantly changed by changing your thinking. Consider how your physical well-being is impacted by your thoughts, for instance. The majority of individuals agree that happiness makes you feel good. Dopamine is produced more actively as a result of these thoughts and feelings. Not only does this make us feel good, but it also sharpens our focus and aids with motor coordination and decision-making. It is important for numerous other neurological and physiological processes. So, what happens when we have bad thoughts? We, usually, feel bad. Consistently thinking negatively weakens the immune system and the hormonal balance in our bodies. Additionally, it contributes to conditions like anxiety, sadness, and hypertension. You can examine what you're telling yourself after you start to catch your thoughts. According to the author Norman Vincent Peale, dwelling on negative thoughts is like fertilizing weeds. Ask yourself, what thoughts do I really want to cultivate? Knowing whether your attention is on the positive or the negative can be determined by watching your thoughts. Is this really a problem that needs to be solved? Or is it something that you can accept and let go of? You may categorize your thoughts by applying mindfulness as you travel through them. You might become accustomed to and default to thinking negatively. Additionally, you could feel as though you are shielding yourself from disappointment since you assume that everything will turn out badly. But is that supported by reality? Start to doubt your irrational views and inquire as to whether they are true. Have you ever come across someone whose outlook appears perpetually pessimistic? This behavior may have occasionally been inbuilt since early childhood. Your way of thinking was shaped by the people and circumstances around you if you grew up in a bad environment with continual criticism and unpleasant happenings. However, once you are aware that your thoughts are subject to modification, you may concentrate on changing your behavior. You have more freedom as an adult to change your perspective on things and the people you associate with. So how can you shift to a more positive mindset? You must learn to change your thinking patterns if you have a long history of being addicted to negative thinking. The most effective strategy to deal with your negativity is typically not through resisting. Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist, said, "Whatever you resist persists." That was his way of saying that the more you fight against something, the more you draw it to you. It may seem unproductive to accept your negativity. Let's see how that can work for you. According to the Stoic school of thought, the reality isn't as horrible as it first appears if you imagine the worst-case scenario and accept it. Though it might seem strange to make your troubles look worse, it does have a way of putting things into perspective. When you accept that even the worst scenario is possible, you may change your perspective and approach problems realistically and optimistically. A Stoic philosopher Seneca once remarked, "Perhaps the worst will happen, perhaps not, but until then, look forward to better things." Being grateful is a powerful way to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. A new habit of optimistic thinking can be formed with even the smallest of things. When you concentrate on the positive, the negative thoughts will have to take a back seat because it is difficult to have two opposing thoughts at once. Identify a few particular thoughts that you can use to reset your thinking. Consider the people and places that make you happy, your favorite songs, or your beloved pets. Be appreciative of everything. Keep an eye out for things that are doing well. Do you have clean drinking water at home? If so, you are luckier than 2.1 billion individuals globally, according to the World Health Organization. The things we take for granted are frequently overlooked. However, if you begin to focus on all the things you have to be thankful for, your mind will start to hunt for more of the same. Author Marianne Williamson once said, "Joy is what happens to us when we allow ourselves to recognize how good things really are." You may break the habit of having negative thoughts in your head by altering the way you think. Walk, breathe, and practice meditation. Engage in an activity that makes you feel wonderful. Consider the glass as half full. The human mind is incapable of separating reality from non-reality on its own. It reacts to stimuli from outside senses. You can increase your degree of proficiency by visualizing a scenario while employing as many of your senses as you can to create it. This has been utilized for athletic training and relaxation. It has been demonstrated to be just as effective as participating in the actual race or event. Human brains interpret it as though it had actually occurred. This method can be applied to any behavior that leads to self-improvement, including positive thinking. Changing your way of thinking requires awareness. It is simpler to change your thoughts than to fight them. Gratitude moves you closer to greater positivity and away from thoughts that no longer serve you. It can help to laugh at yourself when you have judgmental, overly critical, or worrying thoughts. According to Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic week. If you believe this video has added value to your understanding of life, please like and subscribe to the channel for more life-changing content.